Yo, what is up guys, Anthony here back with another Destiny Child video, and in today's Destiny Child video, as you can all see by the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be summoning in the House of Reincarnation today, and we're going to be dumping a ton of units to the HOR, as we'll show in just a second. And now let's check out the Forge of the Hephaestus and see these units we do have that will be dumping into the HOR. Now, I honestly did decide to just dump a ton of the useless units that I don't use at all. Now, a ton of these units have been at E rank for such a long while, and I just don't use any of these units. So I've been deciding for a while now to just dump these units into the HOR and try and uncap some of the better supporter units, etc., that I do have on my list right now. Now, with the release of Ophois, I just decided to dump all of these, so we'll be doing so in today's video. So let's check out all of the units we do have here. As you can see, we do have a ton of units that are actually at level 50, so some of them I did decide to level up, but as you can see, majority of them are at E rank, even C rank for metas here. So we do have a ton of them. I did unbind them. As you can all see, they are at 5-star. So I don't use any of these units. Decided to dump them into the HOR. Now, as you can probably say as well, why don't you just save these 5-star units for the ignition side of the game? Now, I do consider the option, but I'm also thinking I can just obtain units throughout the next event, and obviously some of them will end up being these units that I will not use, so I'll just dump those copies to the ignition side of the game to create cores, etc. Now, as you can see, we do have a whopping total of 245 stars here, so a ton of units to get rid of. I do believe a total of 40 HOR summons. Now, we'll probably not be doing all of them here in today's video, as I do want to spread out these 5-star units with the upcoming Seth Ragnarok. So we'll be dumping these units in the HOR, hopefully managing to snag the remaining uncaps for Ophois, and then we'll save the remaining copies of fodder units for the Seth Ragnarok, as I would like to uncap Samil and Artemis when she does release with the event. But we'll talk about them later here on the channel, and depending on my upload schedule, we probably have talked about them already. But do stay tuned for that video if I haven't uploaded it here on the channel just yet. Now, as for my summon list here, I do have a ton of supporter units. Actually, we do have a collaboration unit as well on the list, being Ayane, as she is an amazing 6-hit slider at full ignition status, so I do want to have her prepped for future world boss events, so did decide to toss her onto my list as well. We do have Guillotine here, a top tier water type supporter for world boss. We do have Rusalka here, the fire type version, a very top tier supporter as well. Ophois, the newest dark type attacker unit. And we also do have here at the end the light type Saturn, an amazing world boss supporter unit, which can be used for the upcoming dark type world boss in just a few weeks from now, as well as the 5-star fancy Citri. So a ton of units here that we can use, and if we do manage to +6 any of them early, I do have some substitution units that we can toss in, such as Banshee as well as a few others. So we'll be dumping all of those 5-star units in today's video, or a great majority of them, and then saving the remainder of 5-star units for the Seth Ragnarok. Now, if we do manage to snag the Ophois copies early, we'll probably just stop this HOR video, but let's see if we manage to get lucky with our pools. Now, I was contemplating on doing this for a while, since we don't use a great majority of the units in the game. As you can see, a ton of them do seem to be niche units. Now, I did want to be a collector on Destiny Child and just uncap every unit, but decide to just do this, as it does seem to be more beneficial towards the events side of the game for World Boss in particular, as well as Ragnarok, so I could just have these top tier units uncapped. Now we did on the first summon here obtain a Fancy Citry, so an amazing unit here. I do believe this is a +3 for myself. Now I do have to keep an eye on my uncaps, as in my last HOR video, specifically the Leifang one, I did struggle a bit with keeping up on the uncaps and managed to summon an additional Leifang. So on the second summon here, we do have here a Tragedy Rusalka, an amazing fire type supporter unit, can be used specifically for the Ragnarok side of the game, but she also does have a ton of use in World Boss and can be used in PvP as well if you do have a sort of mono fire type team. As for the third pull here, let's check out what we received from this one. We do have an Awakened Child, but we'll continue since we won't be using these units anyway. And we do receive here a 5-star Fancy Citry yet again. Now this is probably the +4 of Fancy Citry, so very nice to see her there, as we can manage to uncap her later on in the upcoming weeks depending on the upcoming Lisa schedule calendar, and I'll uncap these units accordingly, as my Onyx will be very low after finishing all of these summons. As for the fourth pull, I do believe here, we do have here a 5-star Tragedy Rusalka yet again. Now I'll honestly take a break for a second and check my uncaps to see what we do have here in the inventory so far. So 1 second here while I do check them. Alright everyone, back here in the House of Reincarnation. Now I did check out my uncaps, and we do have Tragedy Rusalka at a +4. We also do have Fancy Citry at a +3, so not +4 for her. As for Guillotine, we do have her at +1, Saturn a +4, Ophois at a +0, and Ionet at +1 now. So just to keep track with our uncaps, we do have Ionet at +1 now. So an amazing unit, honestly one of the priorities here on the House of Reincarnation list, as of course you can only obtain this unit now from the House of Reincarnation. Of course, if you do have a copy of her, you can obtain her from the HOR. So next up here, let's see if we can manage to summon an Ophois or Guillotine, as we haven't seen them just yet. We do have here a Guillotine, so there she is, the +2 Guillotine for myself. So very nice to see her pop up, as she's an amazing supporter unit. Does have the prioritization on the drive skill for your water type attackers in the World Boss trial. So an amazing unit to pull, as she is a very top tier unit for water type teams in the World Boss side of the game, and she does have some niche use in the Ragnarok side as well. As for the next pull here, let's see what we do summon up. We do have here a 5-star Ophois. So there she is, our first uncap of Ophois, not including the narrative dungeon copy we'll be obtaining in the next few days. But there she is, Hasty Ophois, just released a few days ago, and we did manage to pull one from the HOR. So there's an uncap for her. As for the next summon, as you can see, Bari, a fan favorite, heading into the HOR. Now, I do love Bari, but I don't use her, and I doubt a ton of people use her. But maybe you guys do like the fan favorites and toss them onto your team. But I'll be tossing her into the HOR. Now, there she is going away, and let's see what we do manage to pull out of the Bari copies. Now there she is, Tundra Guillotine, a water type unit, so toss in a ton of Baris, and there is a Guillotine copy. Now Guillotine +3 now with this copy, so an amazing pool. Obviously our list does have top tier units, so all of these pools will be very good. Now we do have a ton of dark type units here. I'm honestly going to save, I believe, 5 of these units for the ignition process of Ophois, so we won't be using all of these Red Cross copies for the HOR just yet, but we'll be saving those for the ignition process of Ophois. So there are a ton of AIs, hopefully with the dark type. We do receive Ophois. Now we do have here a 5-star Ophois, so very nice. There she is, Ophois. Now she is at a +2 status, so dump in the specific elements and I guess you receive them back. There is Ophois, And I do believe we can toss in another dark type summon. No, let's just save 3 of these red cross units for the ignition process. Now I'm not sure if you do need 5 or 6 5-star units of the same type for ignition, but we'll save 6 just to be sure and check it out in the ignition process on a later video. Now there are 3 Aurora Kings alongside the dark type AI and red cross, and we do receive here a Ayane. Now there is +2 Ayane, so very happy with this pool as well, as she is amazing. Now we do have a ton of Slime Kings here. Maybe if we do toss in light type units, we'll receive the Saturn. Now we haven't seen Saturn, she is on the list as well. I do only need 2 Saturns as she is at a +4. So we do have here a 5-star Hasty Ophois. So there she is, +3, and with the narrative copy, we will have her at a +4. So getting to the area of where we might stop with the Ophois at +3 and the +4 with the narrative copy. Next up here, we do have a ton of Diablos we'll be tossing away. Let's see what we do pull from the Diablo summon. We do have here a 5-star Tundra Guillotine, so very nice to have Guillotine there at a +4 status now. We do need 2 uncaps for 3 of the units on the list now, including Ophois if we do obtain her narrative copy along the next few days. Now, we also do have some Hera's here. I do love Hera's art style, but unfortunately she just isn't too great, so decided to dump her, and I'm hoping they do create a future Hera 5-star version that is more useful. So always got to keep an eye on the Korean version and see what they're releasing, so maybe she will receive one in the near future. As for Fancy Citri here, we do have another copy, so there she is at a +4 status. Fancy Citri, an amazing supporter unit, so very nice to see. Next up here, we do have some Heras alongside Mammon, a fan favorite, not really at all, but there he is on the list now alongside Hera. So let's see what we do receive from this fool. We do have here a 5-star Ayane. Now Ayane is at a +3 with this uncap, so very cool to see Ayane with this summon. So I do believe we'll do one more and then we'll cut the video into a second part. So let's do one more here and then we'll cut the video, and in a later video I'll upload part 2 here on the channel. So we do have a ton of Mammons alongside Bridget. Love Bridget, but just don't use her yet again. Now let's see what we do end it off here for the ending of the first video of HOR summons. Now we do have here an Ayane, so Ayane at +4 with this pool, and this will do it for the first part of HOR summons here on the channel. So stay tuned for the next part, which we'll record right after, and see if we can manage to fully uncap Ophois. Now of course, make sure to let me know in the comment section below how your narrative dungeon luck has been so far throughout the Ophois event. And of course, make sure to let me know how your summons have been as well. But anyways, if you did enjoy today's Destiny Child video and our HOR summons here in today's video, make sure to leave a like on this one. And of course, if you haven't yet done so already, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you would like to stay tuned for the next HOR summoning video here on the channel. Now with all of that being said, as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next HOR summoning part.